Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Final Show Films. I am Sen, your executive producer here, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. I particularly want to thank our $25 tier supporters over at Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms, those being Jeffrey Alexander, Samantha Bates, Cat Waterflame, and L, without whom we would not do nearly as much of the things we do now. So thank you very much for your support over the years. And those of you that are watching live, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. So. And we're live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Wrath and Glory Under the Steel Sky. It's been a bit, but we're back. Welcome back to this Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory campaign. Joining me today, we have Mara.
Who's muted?
Who's muted?
There we go. It's restarting my phone and I didn't want it to beep at all you all. Hi, I'm Mara. I'm playing Tina, an orc pilot who has a goal. What that goal is, we're going to shortly find out once I remember where the button is to click to roll the dice. 5. Solve a problem with the sage knowledge that bigger is better.
I think that's the first time you've gotten that one.
Yes, it is.
And Juliet.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm playing Laura Fire, the Eldari Ranger. I have to keep remembering that one. And her objective is devote an accomplishment or victory to an Eldari god, which is the first time I've gotten that one.
Nice. You might have to look up the Eldari gods because the only two that I can think of is Caleb and Chicane and Chegarak.
Sheogorath?
Close, but not quite.
Okay.
He is the clown god of murder clowns. So
I mean, throw in a little cheese and you're basically on board.
And Sen.
I'm Sen. I'm playing Ceres Artinos, the Inquisitorial Interrogator, who very impressively, I felt, no-sold Jack's attempts to distract me earlier. And I got my objective is to gauge the approximate interrogative breaking point for an individual, which is one that I haven't gotten before.
Everyone's apparently getting new objectives today.
I can't. I've done all mine.
I was going to say, I think I've
gotten
gotten all of mine at some point.
There's
as
still
well,
one
yeah.
that I haven't done yet, that I haven't gotten yet.
And Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly. I'm playing Blairheart, Ganger Scum. And my goal is to explain how a common object has an alternative use, probably as a weapon. I've gotten that 1 million times, so
Yeah.
there is one I haven't gotten before.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeremy.
Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm playing Remy Mara. He hates life. Because
he's got a hive city up his butthole.
Recount a desperate act of survival you once made. Actually, I may not have gotten that.
No, you've gotten that one because you did it. Because you got that one immediately after you survived falling from.
That's correct. That is
That's
correct.
right.
It's landing on the ground floor in many pieces.
Timely.
One piece, one very broken piece.
Very topical.
Many pieces in one skin bag.
There we go.
And Jack.
Hey everybody, I'm Jack. I'm playing Aristarchus Dactyl, who is a tech adept of the Ordo Mechanicus, and his goal is to calculate the odds of any given task and provide an estimate of survival or success, which I've gotten a number of times as well.
It's because you're so damn good at it, Jack.
It's just none of us will listen to you.
Nope. But
Never
that's
tell me
not
the
the
odds.
objective.
And as always, Black Lives Matter, trans rights are human rights. Happy Pride, eat the rich.
Especially if they come in a nice little tuna can that got compressed to deep, deep ocean levels.
They were, as I said the other night, they were physically marginalized.
Sometimes problems work themselves out.
I saw a tweet today of a screen grab of apparently some of the emails that Stockton Rush had been sending back and forth. And literally, it feels like the readout on a Fallout terminal.
It does. It super does.
Nice.
And as always, this stream is powered by Sirenscape.
Oh yeah.
I should get into that.
I
But
was
when
in
last we
Sirenscape
left-
before it was cool.
Don't lie to me.
I mean, everyone should get into Sirenscape. Sponsor us.
Sponsor our streams.
Type of
Uh,
high quality.
Thank
ad
you.
Get.
High quality ad revenue happening right
Mm.
now.
But when last we left our agents,
Something Twitch something.
like, share, and subscribe. But when last we left our agents,
Also ring the bell.
I'm gonna get to this fucking.
I cannot get over, and I don't know if this happens for anybody else or if it's just me, how far down I have to lower the volume for this stream specifically for Sirenscape.
Oh no, me too.
I have it at 10%, and it's finally tolerable.
I've got it at 29%, so I don't. I don't know if the percentage on Sirenscape actually correlates to an actual volume.
That is
it's-
also fair.
So
Still sponsor us though.
the
I was gonna say.
user percentage is a percentage of what the master control audio level is at. So if the master control audio changes, your percentage changes inversely.
In character, Aristarchus is very much here for a technological dissertation and deconstruction of whatever piece of software we happen to be using right now. I hope the rest of our audience is as entertained as I am.
But anyway, when last we left our agents, good, there was no interruption.
By the
group-
way, no.
Somebody's gonna get stabbed.
and the
Every time
psyker detonates and the entire Hive City goes away.
every time I try to start a game, right here.
But when last we left our agents, the group of them had finally managed to locate and encounter Janaea Tandris, the long missing and pained scion of House Tandris. The only reason they managed to do this was because Lorwell decided to contact them psychically. And in that psychic conversation, decided to let slip that her brother was alive and looking for her, which prompted Janaea to take a bit of forward action, shall we say, and leave the place that she was supposed to be staying and find her brother. The rest of the group managed. The rest of the group managed to arrive in time to meet her as she melted the door that was between her and the outside completely into slag with her mind, and offered to guide her to her brother, which appeared to be the only way that was going to really keep her from theoretically killing anything that got in her way. About part of the way down the conversation that was being enacted, the group, not wanting to say no to the incredibly powerful Psyker who could crush them like a tin can with a thought, revealed where her brother was to be meeting them, which was at an old theater that the pair of them had often visited during their childhood. Remembering the path and smiling for the first time since the group had ever seen her in anything, she began to run the distance to try and make her way there. But we pick up with Saris and her brother, Jordan Tandris, as the pair of you enter into an abandoned theater building. The signs of misuse evident everywhere as old dust rests on every wall, the smell of rusting metal ever present, the dim but still functioning lumens that hang on the ceiling, providing the scantest of ghost light to the environs of what was once a place of community and entertainment, now the broken remains of what has been buried.
How much of the information that has been passed up to me from the lower down group have I received by this point? Because I feel like I was receiving bits of information at various times throughout the setting up of this, and I don't know how much of it I have now.
I would say
Go on. I remember because I watched this. Remy did inform you about the 15-minute deprogramming session they attempted to do, and that she is on her way to you.
Yeah,
Very
I just don't
quickly.
know. I'm talking about timeline-wise when I received.
That's about where you're at, because it's going to take them a while to get here.
So then, all right. So your sister is on the way now. My people are with her and aren't dead yet, but it does seem that she is a bit on edge and has been teetering on the brink, as it were.
That is to be expected, all things considered.
Yes. In order for this to go well, our objectives are going to be to get her to a place where chaos cannot whisper to her while we talk to her. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but I've already arranged with what the fuck is the name of the convent nearby?
The Order of the Blazing Howl.
I've already arranged with the Order of the Blazing Howl to assist us if we can get her to their convent. They are willing to assist and stand by as a means to resolve the problem if we can't resolve it peacefully, but their ability to quiet the chaos will only work if we can get her into their building. So play it by ear.
If there is anyone who my sister will trust, it is me.
Yes, but we don't know how trusting she's going to be, even of you.
This is true. But this will be our best and only chance.
Correct. I'm gonna spend a little time with him helping, just cleaning up the place as best we can. If this is a place of fond memory, I would rather it be a little bit more well kept rather than it being a visual representation of all good things coming to die. So,
As you mentioned the possibility of cleaning the place up, he sort of looks around and he sort of brings a hand up, and there's a spark, and all of the cobwebs in the room just sort of glow bright red, and then smoke into disintegration.
and I will use my telekinesis to sort of lift and rearrange the furniture and clear away the rubble.
Da, bunch of psychos. Too good to use a fucking broom like the rest of us.
If we used a broom, it would take 3 days.
Also, you wouldn't use a broom. You'd use a fleet of servitors.
Right.
Too.
Who have brooms.
We've already established that's a different tech priest who manages the Roomba servitors.
Well, sorry, what's his rank again?
He is Primaris Psycho, Jordan Tenders.
Primaris Psycho, your professional opinion and personal. Should I remain visible or secrete myself away?
Her mental sense is acute. Even before everything that has happened, she was the stronger of the two of us in terms of psychic ability. I would recommend honesty and flat presentation. Attempts to hide are likely to go amiss and set her on edge.
That was my thought. Just wanted to confirm it. This is our only chance for saving her. I know you understand that. I just feel the need to reinforce it.
I will not fail my sister again.
I will do everything in my power to assist you. And then I assume the two of us will enter into a quiet meditation while we wait.
Yeah. He sort of, after everything is cleaned up as best as can be on short notice, he sort of sits up on the center of the stage and just sort of crosses his legs and lays his forestaff over his lap and just sort of closes his eyes and focuses.
I will stand off the stage, like on the floor, visible but not like not near him in a potentially threatening manner.
Meanwhile, because Tina was gone last session, where is Tina in all of this?
Oh, I mean, don't quite know what was happening. But
You got
she did.
one shot by Blair, if I recall correctly.
Yes, and I think I was sort of avoiding her. So I might just be.
So you think you would be with the party that is not with Blair right now? So the group that is up in the theater.
I don't know
Or
about that because I don't
elsewhere
think.
entirely.
Yeah, elsewhere entirely is more likely because Tina doesn't really like Saris that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the two parties currently are Saris, Laurel. I almost said Morian, but that's my Saturday game. Saris, Laurel, and Jordan. With
Laurel is
sort of
specifically not there.
Yeah.
Laurel specifically being not in the immediate vicinity, but still in roughly the same grouping. Whereas the group that is escorting Janaea is Blair, Remy, and Aristarchus.
Okay. Yeah, no, I might be with. I might. Well, we'll switch it up. I'll be. I'll be in the theater, so I'm moving stuff.
It's a big, bulky body able to lift heavy things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why not?
After we're done cleaning, then Tina, if you would, off to one side, visible but not immediate, just so that there's no misunderstandings.
Sure.
Thank
She
you.
goes and stands somewhere. I don't think she really knows what you're asking, so.
Meanwhile,
I would have indicated to like a location that was good for you to be like in one of the side boxes where you're like, there's a seat and everything.
Ooh, I've never been in a seat at the theater. This is exciting.
sit down, you take up like 2 or 3 of the seats.
Exactly. Somehow I prepare popcorn. I'm ready for whatever's gonna happen.
You believe there to be popcorn available, thus there is.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, the other group are running to try and keep up with Janaea, who is in dead sprint, heading like running down paths that she seems to know by instinct as she routes her way towards the theater. How does everybody think they're doing in trying to keep up with her, or is everyone trying to keep up with her?
I'm trying.
My speed is 6.
Uh-oh.
So,
I mean, that's standard.
right. Aristarchus is kind of crab scuttling his way along at a regular but only so rushed of a pace that he can manage, probably.
I feel like Blair's probably doing fine.
All right.
I'm pushing myself to try and keep up as much as possible. My speed is also 6.
I would like everybody to give me an athletics test just to see how well you're handling the dead sprint that Janae is keeping.
Excellent.
That tracks.
I'm so pleased.
Aristarchus is running and not paying attention and ran head first into a light pole.
Oh no, Aristarchus started running the other direction.
And then
so-
Remy
Oh,
ran
no.
behind him.
Ah,
I love that the best out of all of us is Blair with, count 'em, 1 icon.
Blair, would you like to use a wrath to re-roll those remaining dice? You have 2 at the start of every session.
Yeah, that's fine.
I would like to imply
I just
that
hit the reroll button here.
we
Yeah.
kept up just fine, and then she went through the doorway, and Remy and Aristarchus tried to go through at the same time and got stuck.
Honestly, that tracks. So as the group of you are trying to sprint to keep up, Blair is for the most part keeping pace. Aristarchus, you are made significantly of metal. That, unfortunately, because your legs are not made entirely of metal, does
Heavy.
tend to add additional weight and make it somewhat straining to run for long periods.
Oh, we're gonna have to get those replaced eventually.
Damn fleshy lungs are giving out on you.
I don't want to talk about it.
Remy, you're a talker and an investigator. You're not a sprinter.
Not for a long time.
You haven't done this kind of physical exercise in a long time. You might not be made mostly of metal, but you are still also having a hard time keeping up.
Yep.
And the two of you, with the both of you rolling the exact same, no successes, 1 complication. I will say that it's probably at like a junction point. That like when it hits one of the elevators to try and raise up several levels, that Blair and as the form of a complication, Blair and Janaea make it into the elevator as the doors are beginning to shut,
Don't, God.
and the two of you run straight into the elevator door as it finishes shutting.
Do I hear a thud?
Probably, yeah.
It's all right, Remy. We'll catch the next one. Looks around to see
I
if there's a
mean-
secondary lift channel.
Considering the size of this place, you're probably going to have to like run for another half mile to find the next lift.
At this point, we might as well just sit down and relax because whatever's gonna happen will have happened by the time we get there. And if it turns out bad, let's not be in the blast radius.
Well, I mean, you make a good point from a sort of self-preservational standpoint, which I can appreciate. I am, however, the medic who is responsible for making sure that everybody walks away if possible. So I feel like it would be behoovant of me, if that's a word.
Not.
I feel like it would be my duty to get there
Better.
as soon as possible, in case, like you said, it does go upsy whoopsie.
You can
And
forensically examine the bodies. Makes sense.
I might even be able to salvage bits, and then we could, put them in some
For harvesting, also makes sense.
or reconstruction.
Sure.
Reconstruction is an excellent procedure and always has a positive outside benefit.
Yeah, I don't buy that, but sure.
Given that we are multiple thousands of years past American history.
I am just loving Remy's optimism.
it's not optimism or pessimism. It's just we missed the elevator. Whatever. It's out of my hands at this point.
Tell you what,
I can do nothing to affect what's going to happen.
I will wait until this lift sends its response signal to the machine spirit down here that it has arrived at its terminus, and then accelerate it on a return trip so that we can make up as much lost time as possible.
Better thought. Don't know if you can do this, but let me know. But if so, it would be good. It's still moving, right?
Yeah.
Still going to. Can you send a signal to send it back down?
I can
get on
certainly
that
ask.
elevator?
And Aristarchus will plug in and confer with the local machine spirit.
That's gonna go great. Roll me
Is
a
the
tech
local
check.
machine spirit scared of what might happen? Because it should.
Roll me a tech test.
She's gonna kill Blair.
Blair's not in control of any of this.
No, she's trapped in the elevator with her.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
Okay, what are my options
I'm
here?
1
Okay.
XP away from what I
When you
wanted.
commune
which
with this
means I'm
machine
dying
spirit, as far as
tonight.
that, you
Listen,
okay, so I get
that's
3
on
extra
you.
icons to whatever this result is. And he'll use sacred machine oils if any complications arise.
It's not my fault you have a lethal level of XP. You should have spent it.
No, I was saving it.
I'm playing this out as the irony of me
7.
saying you
Yeah.
should have spent
7
Yeah.
XP.
icons.
So you have 7 icons. So you are indeed able to send the return signal to the elevator and cause it to stop and then begin to return. Inside the elevator,
Now, when they get down there, we need to be surprised.
Blair inside.
Didn't get a single goddamn shift. Son of a bitch.
Janaea is sort of like, upon entering the elevator, she just sort of leans up against the back wall and crosses her arms, like impatiently, is sort of waiting for the elevator to go up. And the instant it slows and then stops and begins to go down again, she looks up at the elevator roof and just goes, no.
No, I think the others just want to get on. That's all.
Time to waste. And she pulls her hands down and that sort of psychic energy begins to gather around.
She's just gonna telekinetically lift the whole thing.
Or something.
If you just give it a minute, we'll be on our way.
Yeah, what is your psychic mastery?
I really like the notion that she's just gonna wreck this whole elevator tube by just reversing course telekinetically on it and push it up.
Ooh.
That's our girl.
Yeah.
She, rather than trying to reverse course in the elevator, because that would be the slow path, she like brings her hands together and this sort of psychic energy begins to gather in between her palms, and she shoves it upward and blasts a hole through the roof of the elevator as it just completely melts and craters outward and just rips open a hole in the ceiling, through which she jumps as the elevator begins to go down, and she just starts to, presumably assisting her movement with telekinesis. She just begins to jump from bar to bar in the elevator shaft and starts to climb levels herself.
Yeah, I can.
Congratulations! Now none of you will be there with her.
No. I
She's
have just
venoming.
saved another life. You are welcome.
Oh no, Blair will call after her. Can you take me with you?
She gets about 2 jumps down and looks down at you as you say that. Roll another psychic mastery test.
Oh!
Yes!
Gosh.
With the complication.
Tides
tele-
of chaos.
She
Tides of
telekinetically
chaos.
moves you up, but she just shoots you through the roof of the elevator.
Excellent news, Remy. The
You are
lift
currently
is
about-
on its way back down, so
Yeah.
everything is going as well as could be expected.
Oh, Blair's gonna kill Aristarchus.
You're currently in the stratosphere right now.
So there is a banshee scream that emits from the air around her as she reaches down. Fortunately, you are too far away for it to bother you. But she reaches down with her hand, and you feel a telekinetic force grip you as your arms and legs sort of lock up, and then you begin to rise up through the hole as she begins to pull you up behind her as she continues to leap from bar to bar.
Yes.
Thank you.
Encourage the almost demon. Encourage the nearly demon possessed psyker to use her power more. That's the.
I'm making sure she's not alone.
So the elevator comes back down in about a couple of minutes, and it opens, and there is a pile of slag metal on the ground, a hole in the roof, and no one inside.
I like that it opens to this big smoking mess, and then there's just a beat as like Aristarchus and Remy look at each other and then look back, and then what's left of the ceiling piece that was still up there just drops down into the center of it. Remy's just like,
Undeterred, Aristarchus is going to step inside and try and get this thing running again.
Congratulations, you killed Blair.
Remy's just like, pull out a cigarette.
Lights it on the slag.
Roll me another tech test, Aristarchus, to get this elevator moving again, because it needs it.
Now we're talking.
11 successes. Good.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You needed 5, so you can shift whatever's left.
I can shift all 3 of those then because of the 3 extras that I get. So yeah. I'm just gonna push this thing into overdrive.
All right.
I'm shifting all of it to just whatever catch-up stat is for this elevator.
Oh, that's great. So Remy's standing in the elevator, lighting the cigarette, and then
I'll wait till Remy's
off.
Inside.
Well, no, he's in the elevator, lighting a cigarette. It kicks off, and he just gets flattened on the ground.
The elevator kicked off. Blair, as you're being telekinetically carried,
Yes.
you look down as you hear a screeching of steel, and you see an elevator rapidly ascending towards you and Janaea.
With like, we just
Hurry!
just like flat on the floor, staring at you as it goes up.
Jack, can you have used this success to let whatever communication thing in here play the girl from Ipanema?
It just does that automatically. It's sort of, I feel like that's sort of having some sort of banal.
Right, we're gonna go see Mum at work. Mom works in orbit.
Oh, the Keystone Copsness of this whole thing is amazing.
Me, like cut interspaced with like cutting back to the concert hall where just 2 of us are just standing silently, like unmoving, just quiet meditation, and Tina's off to one side eating popcorn.
And it cut back to Blair shouting that warning to Janaea. Janaea looks down, sees the elevator coming, sort of tightens her grip on the bar she's grabbing. Her hair starts to rise, and electricity starts to spark around her, and she just pushes down and launches herself up into the air as Blair is trailing behind her.
I'm looking at, is that you know what? I don't know what else I was thinking.
Aristarchus, meanwhile, is not really looking up at all. He's just patting the little terminal interface, going, "You're doing great. This is a fantastic job. Very proud of you."
And so this race continues as Blair, you are constantly afraid of getting crushed by an oncoming elevator.
What Blair did to Tina is going to be child's play compared to when she gets a hold of Aristarchus.
And this goes on for a frightening few minutes as she is just launching herself hand over hand up this elevator and dragging you behind her psychically. and eventually she reaches the right floor, and she pulls herself over, rolls herself out of the elevator shaft, and then you're still rising at a rate, and you're like, oh no, this is not going to be fast enough. And she flings out an arm, and one of those long, giant fucking chains that is hanging around her wrist lashes out and wraps around your leg. It hurts, but she yanks and pulls you out of the elevator shaft right before the elevator comes screeching in.
Thank you. She's breathing heavily.
Your ankle is sore as fuck from where that chain like slammed around, but you're not crushed by an elevator.
Victories.
I'm gonna kill him.
Good question. Does the elevator stop at the right level?
It kicks up a hell of a lot of sparks as it tries to brake very quickly, but yes.
Okay.
Remy probably feels his feet leave the ground for a second.
Fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
With the doors open, still just gonna casually walk out.
How much of the cigarette have you made your way through?
I mean, I feel like it's only been like half a second, so.
How much?
So the entire thing.
No, that cigarette has
one of those
gone
Looney Tunes ones where you take a single drag and pull it down to the filter.
at that speed with that much wind. That cigarette has gone out. I
That's
guarantee
probably
it.
fair.
So he's like walking out, relighting it up.
Relighting it, yeah.
Oh, hey, there you are.
Aristarchus.
Head
I
pops
just
out from the frame.
Imperceptibly
Oh, good. We
take
caught
half
up.
a step away.
I take it this was your doing?
Yeah.
I don't
Another
have
half a step.
I don't have time to kill you right now because she's about to take off again. But remind me to do it later.
Right. Okay.
Blair looks pissed.
Really, Aristarchus, you really should have thought that through. Let's go.
Remy just covered himself.
That bus comes through
You're
here a lot,
goddamn
man.
right. Look, there are two people in this world that Remy does not want to piss off right now. One of them is moving very quickly. The other one is threatening our medic. So,
And yeah, once Janaea sees, and you're surprised by the fact that she waits to see that everyone is here.
That's a
But
good
she does
sign.
seem to wait to see that everyone has arrived on the level, and then starts running again.
Blair immediately takes off.
All right. Well, this might as well happen.
as we're running along, I just lean into Aristarchus very quietly. Nice work.
So you all give chase as Janaea runs through the streets of the level. This is a place that is more populated, but the citizenry nearby, this is like lower mid-hive. The people here are not, they're menial workers. They're people who do not get paid enough to care about the person running through the street, or at all. And so most people see the psyker running through the street, make the sign of the Aquila, and go back to their business. It's like, this is not my problem. There's a few people who scream about the presence of a witch or something, and then duck out of the way.
Actually, not a witch, just a simple misunderstanding. I'm sure everything will be worked out according to the Omnissiah's will very shortly. Carry on about your labors. Everything will be all right.
That's not going to help.
You know what?
It's not
Aristarchus,
gonna
roll me persuasion.
hurt. I have a die in that.
Oh boy.
2.
It does exactly what you think it would do.
Right.
So yeah, You all continue to give chase. Blair, you're the only one who's really keeping pace with Janaea,
Mhm.
which is impressive because she's probably augmenting her speed, and you're still managing to generally keep up. Though, to be fair, she's probably not that athletic. Looking at her frame, she probably doesn't have the level of regular endurance or musculature to really maintain without augmenting herself. Because she looks like she hasn't been fed a proper meal in probably a decade. But the pair of you continue to run. She only begins to slow down as she reaches the block that the theater is on.
Mhm.
At which point her steps slow to a walk, and you start to see the faintest bit of hesitation in the way that she's walking, as if she is both anticipating and dreading what is about to happen.
Blair will cautiously approach her. Are you ready for this?
I don't know if it's possible to be ready for this.
Do you need to take a moment? I know they will wait for you.
If I take a moment, the voices will try and convince me otherwise, so no.
I understand.
And she continues walking and pushes open the main entrance doors of the theater and makes her
Blair's
way
right
in.
behind her.
So there is what little noise exists in the theater immediately dies when Janaea walks into the main room where Jordan is sitting on the stage. As he looks up and the pair of them lock eyes.
And I also look up.
Everything in the room stops for a moment as the two of them seem to communicate without words, which isn't unusual for psychers, but you don't sense any psychic activity either.
Yeah.
I'm
And
just watching to see how I'm probably watching facial expressions and stuff to see
Jordan
how they're feeling.
Jordan makes a show of picking up his force staff and setting it on the stage next to him and leaving it behind as he stands up and begins to walk over as Janaea also begins to cross the distance as the two of them seem to be on a trajectory to meet about midway down the aisle.
Is
I
this
will-
like are they gonna hug? Are they gonna punch each other?
I will raise once I see the others coming in behind her, I just sort of raise a hand to indicate stopping. But don't otherwise move.
As the pair of them slowly walk until they meet in the center of the aisle, and they just sort of stare for a second, no words passing between them. Make a willpower roll for Janaea to see how she ultimately reacts. Not the worst.
I'm going to I want to make a Psyniscience roll, not because I'm thinking that either of them are using abilities, but I'm trying to actively monitor the warp in the area to see if something bad happens in response to them coming together outside of either of their intentionalities.
Go ahead and roll me Psyniscience.
Oh, I have my API turned off, but so 3 successes.
As you open your eyes to sort of look around at the warp activity, you do sense the presence of warp activity in the area, and as you sort of like try and focus your senses to try and identify what's going on, You go ahead and roll me Psychic Mastery, just in general.
Four successes. I'm gonna spend that's a lot of threes. I'm gonna spend a wrath to reroll that. 10 successes.
Yeah.
2 of which are exalted icons.
With 10 successes, you can indeed shift those 2 remaining if you want.
I would like to shift 1 into glory and 1 into better information.
Yeah, okay. So, you gain a glory. There's now a glory in the pool.
Okay, what's our ruin pool?
It is currently at 5.
Okay.
Because I just spent 1. You, with your Psyniscience open and your mind reading, you are witness to exactly what happens in these next few moments. As the 2 of them stare for a moment, a couple of seconds pass, and Janaea just steps forward and throws her arms around her brother. The chains rattle and clank as she wraps him up in a hug. And you immediately sense the energies of the warp begin to roil in frustration and disdain. And as if trying to drive in, you sense an increase in warp activity, as if the creatures of the warp are trying to push through, using Janaea as a conduit.
Could I'm assuming more things are happening, but is that something that I could use Deny the Wish to try to stop?
Not necessarily. That's more for denying individual psychic powers.
Okay. Is there anything that I could do to try
A
to stop
corruption test type of thing?
Roughly, yeah, it would be like a corruption test kind of thing.
If they're within 15 meters of me, they get double rank bonus die to those rolls.
Good to know.
Because I believe in the power of love.
that? Is there anything that I could do to try to prevent the warp from acting on this?
You can roll me a Psychic Mastery test again if you want, just in general.
Okay.
I like to feel like this is the point where Remy and Aristarchus run up panting.
That's 6
I
bonus
mean-
die.
6 successes.
So,
One of which is an exalted icon.
so between the 2 of you and you're reaching out, you are able to assist in this, which does make it easier. As you watch it and sort of sense, it's less visual and more just your sort of sixth sense of the warp. As the energies of the warp try to drive in through Janaea, as if demons that have been trying to whisper through her are now attempting to directly possess her. And you try and slow and resist that push. But as if the 2 of them are working in unison, because you cannot sense any difference between their psychic signatures in this moment. A wave of psionic energy washes over this entire room. And the warp entities in the area are scattered like wind. As the physical ramifications are felt by everyone, as if there is a swirl of, a small tornado opens up inside this theater for a moment, everyone's hair and affectations being blown about by the wind. As if Janaea and Jordan are standing at the eye of a storm. But as Saris watches, with your assistance and presumably the extra backing from Tina's presence, the warp entities are dispersed, at least for the moment.
Is that
Aw.
something that registers on the outside?
As those of you who are approaching on the outside, yeah, you sort of as you're approaching, the doors are open, and you just sort of feel a burst of wind sort of push out against you as you're approaching the doors.
Does it feel strange if you have certain?
Yeah. So to you, our budding psyker, you feel minds on the wind, as if other entities were being thrown out. You sort of feel them pass you by, invisible, completely within the warp, but you feel other presences around being dispersed. You're not sure. You're not certain exactly how you're sensing that.
No apparent reason.
Aristarchus doesn't even notice.
You're not a psyker. You wouldn't.
What was that?
Nothing.
You know, every time you've ever said nothing, it's always turned out to be something.
You know,
just a pattern I've noticed. You don't have to explain any further.
I'm just saying you're already on one person's shit list. I wouldn't make it two.
Oh, that was a threat.
If you look over at Blair, she is glaring at you. You have never seen her look at you like this before.
That wasn't a threat. That was simply a statement of fact.
Right.
And as
Or Aristarchus.
inside, as the moment passes and the wind dies down, Jordan sort of pushes off and looks Janae in the eyes. There's so much to speak of, but we should do this in a place that is safe. The agent behind me, he says, looking over at Saris, has prepared a place where we may speak without other beings listening in. And Janaea sort of looks up. He's slightly taller than her. Looks up at him. I'd like that. I would like to talk for once without the whispers chiming in. And she looks over at Saris. Take us to this place.
Follow me. And I will walk out past them and past the others. Sort of indicating to follow. And
following behind, Jordan and Janaea are standing shoulder to shoulder.
And I will
as they walk.
open up just raise up to turn up to touch my Vox bead and signal to the Mother Superior. On my way with our guest in tow. Please ensure that all the sisters are on their best behavior. As code for have the singing going.
as the Sister Superior responds, yes, we will have the hymns at full rotation.
And I will lead the way. And I'm keeping up Sinus since I saw that assault come in. I'm just keeping a wary eye on the warp while leading the way. Since now I know that there is a consciousness that is, or some collection of consciousness that was attempting to use her.
So you begin to make your way over to the Sororitas convent. As the journey progresses, you do notice a few more attempts by whatever presence in the warp has been observing to try and squirm their way in. But every time, as if in unison, the pair of the twins, as if literally acting on one will, the pair of the twins channel a bit of psychic energy, and anything coming at them is dispersed.
Also over the Vox, I will note to the rest of the group. Remy, Blair, Tina may wish to break off. I believe Aristarchus and I are likely to be the only two of the party that will be welcome inside.
What? Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of things I'm inclined to say here that I'm about to say that really don't matter. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
What if something happens to her?
That's partly the point of why
This
we're not
is-
allowed to go.
This is the best place for her if she is to have any chance of coming through this successfully.
And also we will not be there and capable of interfering or, to be fair, becoming casualties if they decide to kill her.
Theris
Hang
pointedly
on
does not
now.
respond to that.
Yeah.
I thought we weren't.
We
Look,
weren't going
but-
to kill her. That's what we when we talked to.
Mm-hmm. Listen.
I have no intention.
This
of that
part
either.
I am opposed to, but I don't get to make that call.
I don't have
Oh,
any.
for what it's worth, Remy, my medical oaths as a member of the Ordo Biologus compel me to insist that no more than two standard deviations of harm in order to achieve proper results. So we'll make sure that doesn't happen.
I have no intention of any harm coming to her.
Aristarchus, I'm sure you believe that's encouraging. It's not.
Oh, well, I don't know. Did they tell you about standard deviations when you were in your training? Because that's only like this much.
Right.
He gestures with his hands.
How many
Unless we're
casualties is
willing,
this much?
unless we're willing to murder our way through this entire church of Sisters of Battle, which we are not, because we can't do, and we will die. We don't have a say here.
Right. Okay. Should we go and see if make sure that as Mara forgets the guy's name. What's the other guy? The guy who was like
Tycho?
keeping her captive? Tycho is like gonna just slow him down. Is that something we should do?
No.
Absolutely not.
Being in the area in case he decides to launch an attack would be a good idea, but I wouldn't go seeking him out.
That's what I meant.
Unless you really want to die today.
Although I doubt he would be foolish enough to launch an attack on this particular convent without significant forces.
If you guys listen, if this church can potentially, if this church has even a slight chance of taking down Shanae, Tycho's not going to be a problem. Just Vox us when you're ready. I'm going.
Will do.
He turns and heads in a direction.
Yeah.
Blair will go over to Tina, put an arm around her. We need to talk.
Tina uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Tina uncomfy.
Come on, Tina.
Sure. I go with. I'm like looking at you sideways.
It wasn't
Where?
meant to be so threatening, but she's
Yeah.
really pissed at Aristarchus now.
Yeah.
So she's
Beautiful.
coming
Yeah,
off as
Tina
very
doesn't know that.
I know she'll take her off to the side somewhere.
As the two other groups break off, the group of Saris, Aristarchus, Jordan, and Janaea make their way to the convent of the Order of the Blazing Howl. As you approach, you see that there is a pair of sisters who are standing at the gates of the convent. They appear to be in full battle dress, essentially. Like they are wearing the armor, the sacred armor of their order, which is they're wearing a suit of black ornate power armor with gold etching and trim that sort of accentuates their form and has like crimson robe sleeves emerging out from under the pauldrons, with deep brown hide leather gloves. Both of them have crimson hoods pulled over their faces that hide the majority of their features except for the lower jaw. The pair of them are in the role of the Imagifier, each of them carrying holding in their hand a tall Simulacrus Imperialis, which is a almost banner-like staff, but instead of a flag at the end, there is just the visage of a holy saint carved in statue form, carried by them in one hand, sort of held. There appears to be a bolt gun slung at each of their hips, just sort of resting behind. But each of them is holding the staff, the Imagifier staff, in their hands. And each of them is chanting a prayer of the Emperor's deliverance as the group passes through the doors. The group of you pass through the doors opening with this slow groaning creak as they open in your presence. The pair of them singing their hymns without cease as you pass by, and more hymns can be heard as the sound of choral singing of dozens of feminine voices can be heard as you enter, and the doors shut behind you. Meanwhile, Blair and Tina.
Do you understand why I was so pissed at you?
Yeah,
Why?
because I put the group in danger unnecessarily.
Yes. You put them in danger. You took us away from what we were concentrating on, which was very important. You did something real stupid. And we had to go unnecessarily murder a bunch of people. Now, if you want to do that on your own time by yourself, that's fine. I don't care. but
That's
don't
the appropriate 40k response. You want to go murder people on your own time? That's fine. Just don't bring me into it.
Yeah. Do not bring the rest of the group into it.
Okay.
All
yes,
right,
ma'am.
then we're good. I'm sorry, I still seem real pissed. Aristarchus is next.
Wait, why? You like him.
Oh, yeah, but he almost had me killed.
How?
He did a thing with an elevator, and then Janaeus had me behind her, and I was whipping around, and then the elevator almost crushed me.
Oh. That doesn't sound good.
That's the worst way to die. That's not even dying in a fight. That's getting killed by
Yeah.
an
By an
object.
inanimate object. Yeah, yeah.
No, I do like him. That's why he's still breathing right now.
I mean, he's also a medic, so well, I guess he couldn't do it on himself. It wasn't breathing. Okay, cool.
You know, we don't know till we'll try. She
Do
says
you
that
want
kind of
help?
jokingly. No, I got it. I got it. I know how to handle him.
Okay. Because he's not as sturdy as I am, so please don't.
No. I
Cool.
know what I'm doing.
Right. Okay. This feels wrong. As we're continuing to walk. Like leaving her?
I mean, she isn't alone.
No, she's got her brother. It was a very sweet reunion. I was watching it all from the seat in the theater, which is really nice. They have cushions in there.
That sounds real nice.
Yeah. Oh shit! I should have stolen some for the
Get some padding for the
buggy.
vehicle.
Yeah. Damn. Wait. Can we sidetrack there? There's nothing left. No one's left there.
That's fine. Come on.
Yes.
I'll help you.
Okay. Good. Cause like, yeah. It's just she should be with people who, care about her.
She is right now. She's with the person that cares about her the most.
Yeah,
that's
but
where
he's
she
just
wants
one
to be.
person. And I don't know about all of these other people. So
I think she'll be okay.
Worry about the other people.
no, Tina isn't.
As the pair of you detour back to the theater so you can steal some padding for the vehicle, potentially
Yes.
including the bucket that
Yeah.
Starkus rides in.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to take our break.
All right. Those of you that are watching live, please stay tuned for these first messages. Remember, when we take our break, you take your break. So stand up, stretch your legs, move around, do whatever you need to do, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. We're back. A dinosaur story.
All right. Okay. So while all of this has been happening, meanwhile, Laurel, where have you been?
Probably like a couple blocks away, just like observing through her what is it called?
Scope?
What?
Uh,
Yes.
scrying?
No, she's not scrying this time. She's just using mundane means. She has a scope.
Otherwise.
So
The magnocular scope.
magnocular scope. So as you sort of observe the group entering into the convent, next to you comes Ronan's voice as he says, "And what do you think the odds are that the Monkai are able to diffuse their dangerous psyker?"
I assume that I have a greater chance of meeting Inyad today than they do of cleansing that child. However, they have proven time and time again that even though they are on a lower standing than us, they are resilient and full of surprises.
Resiliency is perhaps the one trait which can be attributed to mankind that is solely responsible for their place in the universe as it stands. Though they repeat the fall of the Eldar, they yet stand and fight and still occupy the vast majority of what was once our domain. It must be said that, like cockroaches, they refuse to die.
Stumble that remark.
And I believe that also, like cockroaches, when the entirety of the universe is blown to smithereens, somehow they will still cling to the rocks they stand on.
You may be right.
Are you talking about humans or orcs at this point?
Humans.
Because the answer is both.
You may be right. And though the days of the Ranadandra descend upon us and the end times brew in the galaxy, here we stand, trying to prevent the fall of a single world. Still, one must take the small victories they can reach. Do you know where the Monkai Inquisitor agent received that stone?
I forget, did Saris tell Laurel where she got that stone?
Sarah just told Laurel that she's just always had it with her.
No, apparently Saris has had it as long as she can remember.
It is from, as you might have surmised, from my craft world of Wolfway. And it is a stone that denoted the familial legacy of an outcast ranger from my home. They had long since been thought dead, returned to the Infinity Circuit, or perhaps not, as far as they may have been at the time of their death. To find it seemingly in the care of a Monkai from their childhood to now is intriguing, to say nothing else. There is more to the interrogator than even their pitiful attempts at concealment have revealed.
What do you know?
I am still delving into the mystery, but there is a link between this inquisitorial agent and my missing ranger. What I have yet to glean, and I suspect it will take significant delving to find out the truth. But find it I shall, over time. In the meantime, however, I believe you would likely want to know, as well as your ward, that Tycho Morderic has been communicating with someone above him.
Dennis. Yes.
Yes. The warp swirls like a typhoon around this individual, and I sense the stink of Imperial arcano-science upon him. I have not seen the individual who bears the name, but he is something more than human.
Well,
I suspect that the true enemy lies beyond even your iconoclast.
should I take a look?
I don't know that you'll be able to find him, and what's worse, you'd be putting yourself likely in potentially even more danger than you did seeking out the girl.
You have a point.
The individual known as Janus is not some trifling psyker being whispered to by the dark powers. He is a sorcerer of the dark gods. He wields his powers knowingly in their service.
What further leads do you have? Was that it?
The individual keeps themselves well hidden. I doubt even Tycho knows their location at all times, but they do seem to meet occasionally at what I can only determine to be Tycho's true stronghold. An old, run-down building has been converted into a cult fortress. His cultists and servants of chaos make it their home. And from time to time, it is known that the Master calls, and all who would normally attend Tycho are told to be gone from his throne room. And it is then that he meets with this Janus in secret, away from the eyes of even his own servants. It seems that he was keeping the daughter from the rest of his forces, keeping her in a safe house within the domain of these human gangsters. Whether he intended to hide her presence from Janus or not, I have yet to glean. Or perhaps she simply factored so highly in his plans, including Janus's, that she warranted the separation. I tracked him when he left, before she broke her way free. He journeyed down to his fortress to meet with this individual. I could not enter the room without being detected. Powerful warp energies swirl within. I do not know if the psychic potential of this Janus exceeds Janaea's, or if she is indeed the more powerful of the two, but he has the advantage of experience. His wards and his spell work were skilled and veteran. His sorcery, something to be concerned with.
Are you suggesting that Tycho was in fact protecting this child from his forces?
I do not know the answer to that. I know only what I see before me. I am no farseer. I cannot see the skeins of fate. But, of all the pieces that I can put together, she was kept apart, and specifically not told of who and what her master answered to. And the place that he goes to meet with this master of his is warded and ensorcelled with foul, dark magics. Whether some part of Tycho still wishes to preserve Janaea from the darkness, or if he simply has other plans for her, I cannot answer. I can only tell you that should you wish to march on his compound, you will need force. The numbers of soldiers are significant. And though they are but cannon fodder, they will get in your way long enough for more powerful forces to be brought to bear.
I would recommend that this information be disseminated to SAS in a delicate fashion.
Indeed. Your interrogator seems to like to march to battle as soon as possible, with only the faintest hint of a plan.
She is a lot craftier than she looks.
I have a lot of plans, thank you very much. It's just that the people around me don't care for plans and just decide to do what they want to do anyways. And for some reason, I haven't
You're
killed
not
them
here.
yet.
Also, your plan and Eldar's plan are two different levels of plan.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, that's
your
fair.
plan thinks in normal time frame terms.
3D chess.
I don't plan.
And
for
Shani, have we
decades.
entered the Sororitas installation yet?
Yes.
Okay, right about now, Laurel's getting a call then over the Vox.
Yeah.
This is Aristarchus Dactyl for Miss Laurel. In case you're needing information and updates, we have entered the Sisters of the Burning Howl's location. We'll update you as needed forthwith. If you have any requests or requirements, Remy, Ms. Blair, and Tina are on the outside and can assist as needed. Matt Martinos and myself are with the Tandris twins for the foreseeable future. Please respond.
Sure, and jump and tap that bead. Thank you for the update, Aristarchus. Please give me updates as you are receiving them from the sisters.
We are currently walking through the nave. There are 1, 2,
And
3,
you just hear over the Vox
4,
bead. Shut up,
5.
Aristarchus.
Lots of Sororitas. Click.
I can't wait for now. There is screaming. A person just exploded in front of me.
Flames on the side of my
That all
face.
tracks. The child has entered the nave with the Sororitas.
Mayhap the faith of these Monkai will serve to keep the warp at bay. The candles of their souls in unison have an interesting pull.
I only have that this works.
Well, I will leave you to your observations and perform further scouting on my own. Contact me if you need my assistance.
She will nod.
He vanishes from view. Meanwhile, sorry, go on.
She will tap her bead. Remy,
What?
I am aware that tensions are high. What is the current status of things?
Sorry,
your
what's the
end.
current state of what?
What is
Of
the current
things.
status of things on your end?
My current status. Go ahead.
I have been informed that you are outside of the compound of the Sisters of Battle.
That is a technically accurate statement. My current state is I'm waiting to get a garnish because my drink didn't come with one, and I was really annoyed by that fact. I am not there. Anything that goes on by this point is incredibly out of my hands, and I couldn't help if I wanted to. Neither can anybody who's outside, so it doesn't really matter. Cheers!
She will end the call.
How much faith Aristarchus puts in Remy.
Meanwhile, the group inside the convent. Everywhere you go, you see as you walk through the different chambers, being led in towards the anchorite cells, the anchorite cells. You see sisters on guard. Each of them has the same bright flame orange hair, which you surmise is just part of the sacred outfit of the sisters of this order. You've read that, for instance, the Order of Our Martyred Lady all have white hair. Presumably, it's either a heavy series of dyes or a wig, depending. Who knows?
Or genetic modification.
But it seems to be part of the order that they all share the same flame orange hair, which Order of the Blazing Howl makes sense. But the group of them, everywhere you look, when you see sisters, they're standing guard and all singing in perfect unison. You have not heard a note out of place, and you walked past dozens of sisters all not standing in the same place at the same time.
They're very good.
But the singing has an odd effect as it sort of echoes through the halls of the convent. The air almost seems cleaner than the rest of the hive, as if the quality of the environment is somehow being upheld at some level. For the psychers in the group, the warp that is always present at your mind is quieted, as if the hymns and the light of the sisters is becalming the tides of the warp around them, as if they act as a beacon. Many have tried to study what this effect is, but as most just simply place it as their faith in the God Emperor, it basically is just understood to be that. But eventually, the group of you make your way down to a private cell that would normally be used for sisters who wish to seclude themselves from the world and study and repent their sins in private for a while. The chambers are Spartan and bare, designed definitely not for comfort. In fact, for the opposite of that, as they are meant for a soul to repent themselves before the Emperor. They are not meant as a place for people to be comfortable, but they are quiet, secluded, and in the center of this convent as the twins enter into the cell and sit at the bare wooden chairs on the unornamented table. What are the two of you doing?
So I understand that, and this isn't going to have to be fully dialogued out because a lot of this is going to be talking between the brother and the sister. But what I would like to do is just be present and attempt to assure as best I can her that we don't want to hurt her and sort of reinforce her brother's calming presence. My objective is to see if we can't get her to a state of mind where we might be able to get some information about Tycho out of her and potentially get her to see that working with him is not in her best interests.
Are you being honest about this, or are you being deceptive about it?
Honest, completely. Like, I have no intention of hurting her. If asked, I will say that, like, you know, I will explain that dallying too long with the forces of chaos can lead to a bad end, and that I am here to try to prevent that. Like, I'm not trying to hide anything.
All right. Roll me leadership.
Leadership. Four successes.
The conversation goes on for a long time. Of the twins going back and forth, discussing their history, what they've missed from each other, what
Yes.
happened to each of them.
To be fully clear, my objective here is for her to end up in a place where I can leave her with her brother, and we can go deal with Tycho, trusting that she's not going to explode.
And you do think that after several hours of watching this conversation and interjecting occasionally, you get the sense that over time she seemed basically like a ticking time bomb when she came in. But over time, the conversation with her brother has caused her to not fully relax, but definitely lessen some of that tension. And the calming effect on the warp that the Sisters of Battle's presence has seems to be helping a lot in that regard. And you get the feeling that if you were going to leave this woman alone at any point, this would be the best situation. There's not a lot you can do to improve the safety of the situation.
Aristarchus, are you doing anything as well, or?
Aristarchus is doing his best to become a piece of furniture in the room. He's recording everything as soon as we get into any sort of private setting, especially as regards Janaea's reactions, conversation, that sort of thing. His working plan is to just have a record of anything that comes out of her mouth that might be able to be reviewed and combed through later for any hints regarding Tycho and his connections and that sort of thing. Any idle comments that might get dropped to shed any extra light on the situation. That would be his primary.
Or be awareness, Aristarchus.
Yeah. And also, like, I would be actively trying to see if there's any information we can get out of her that will help us tracking down Tycho.
Yeah. So, the things that you learn of import. She doesn't get brought out of her holding place until she's needed for something. She very rarely ever leaves that place. She's kept in food and water and occasionally books to read. But she hasn't left that room outside of being brought on some kind of task in years. Which a bit of conversation with Jordan causes, like, he points out that seems like the opposite of the freedom that Tycho had promised. And he begins to slowly peel away the layers of indoctrination that Tycho had basically used to get control of her. Tycho being a skilled practitioner in the art of controlling a psyker. But Jordan being a psyker and being Janaea's twin and knowing her better than anyone. Even on an instinctive level. Being effective at peeling away the layers of control that Tycho has built over time. It's going to take some time, and you don't know if she'll be able to, like, actively directly assist with anything, at least not anytime soon. But at the moment, the bomb appears to have been diffused. She has gone from the appearance of a cornered animal to the appearance of someone who is happy to see their brother again. You even catch the faint
I gotta stay away for a second. I'll be right back.
moments of a smile. As far as useful information,
yeah, Aristarchus would be focused on her face, especially if there's any reference to personal history or particular areas in the Hive City, anything that would maybe flag a micro expression or anything like that.
Yeah. Of useful information, you gather that she has been brought up and down the Hive City on various tasks, ranging from riling up the Gene Stealer cults and pointing them in a direction, to the destabilization of the hive structure, which was designed to provoke chaos and spread discontent with the Imperium's upbringing and maintenance of the Hive City as it started to fall apart, to writing threats to get the gangs at each other's throat. She's been brought along for the power of her psychic influence and the ability that she has to open doors and deal with things in the way. She hasn't been brought in alongside any of the other cultists because, and you don't know exactly why, but it seems like she is too valuable of an asset to be exposed to the common rabble that Tycho leads. Whenever the two of them go out, it is by themselves.
Is there any reference in their conversation to what's her name, the Spire Hunter that Blair has historical connections to?
What is the name that I just gave her? Imperials.
Nerys.
Nerys Gento. There are a couple of references to Nerys, not in like a working with Tycho sense, just in a occasionally noticed her and saw her from a distance kind of thing. She has seen her before and recognized her from her past, but doesn't seem to know anything about what she's doing recently.
Okay. Is Nerys listed as like being frequently seen in a specific location at all, or just throughout?
Seen occasionally in the Underhive whenever she's down there, but that's unsurprising considering Nerys is a Spire Hunter.
Right, yeah. Okay. That would probably be everything that Aristarchus is interested in.
It is of note, however, that Nerys does appear to be someone that Tycho was specifically keeping her from interacting with.
Okay.
So you get all that information of the
All right.
conversation.
Good to know. But yeah, no, if Jordan seems to have this largely in hand, unless Saris indicates plans otherwise, Aristarchus isn't going to see any particular need to hang around the Sororitas Enclave. He's got a heavy weight between his shoulders that he would prefer to keep under his robes as long as we are in proximity to this faction.
You don't want them to see the sacred shotgun that they typically
Nah,
assign to
he's
their
like,
ancestors.
so if anybody was going to try and take this away from me, it would probably be these ladies. And they seem real murdery, so...
As you sort of step out, you look over across the room of the hall of the cells, and you realize that there are two sororitas standing guard at the far wall, like away from the visible line of sight of the two psychers.
Okay.
And you realize that they are both carrying condemner stake throwers. Which
I'm sure Aristarchus knows what those are.
You're a mechanicus. You know these sorts of things. Condemner stake throwers are a particular combination of bolt gun and literal old-fashioned crossbow that shoots holy stakes. The stakes are blessed and specifically designed and enchanted and blessed for killing psychers.
Okay. And then the only other thing in Aristarchus's mind is basically a kind of like if he's got a mind palace, there's just a nice big chalkboard there that says, on one side says turbo lift, and then there's an equal sign, and then on another side says railgun, and then a big question mark.
Can I use the lift as a railgun?
Right. Could you overcharge that enough to really get something off planet if you needed to?
I'm back. Sorry about that. So what did we learn?
Yeah, go ahead.
She was kept largely secluded except for tasks that Tycho had deemed specifically for her. Definitely kept separate from the rank and file of Tycho's other cultists by and large. Likely due to her specific uses and not needing to intermingle with the common rabble. Mostly she was taken out for a variety of jobs throughout the Underhive, not in any one specific region or segment or layer. She was part of riling up the Gene Stealer cults, destabilizing local infrastructure, elevating tensions between the gangs, etc., whether by direct or influence of psychic powers. There was a level of references to Nairi Scanto, the person that Blair has had some background to, although I don't know that Saris knows that directly. The Spire Hunter, who was operative in the Underhive, but did not interact with directly. There was kind of an implication that Tycho was probably trying to ensure that Janaea didn't confront Ganto directly at any point, and that she was kept separate from any potential of a run-in there.
Also, I think I know about Ganto because Blair went to that dinner with me.
That's right. Yeah, you
Blair did mention something, yeah.
Yeah. And as we're on our way out, they've got special anti-psyker crossbow explosive weapons just in case, apparently. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah, the two guards at the end of the hall are both carrying condemned stake throwers, which are a combination of bolt gun, but also each of them has loaded up like a top-mounted stake thrower, like a high-tech crossbow that is designed to launch blessed stakes that are meant for killing psychers and demons, especially psychers.
Would we have been able to gather what Tycho's overall objective was if she knew it?
From what you're able to gather from that conversation, she was brought out for specific tasks. She was not given the overall plan.
She doesn't know what his overall plan is. I would have, at any point in time, if possible, just to sort of cement the idea that Tycho's not a good person you want to work for. Sort of spelled out to her my theory of what his plan is, which is to sow enough chaos to incite an uprising and use that as a method of basically ripping holes in reality to summon demons. Based on the things that we have found.
Which is bad for your home planet.
Which is bad for everyone involved, really. Particularly the psyker that he's been using. Because the first meal of the demons is the psyker that was used to open the hole.
Not inaccurate.
So, and hopefully, through that, having her brother assist me in that explanation to sort of help solidify the idea that it's good that you're not working for him now.
Yeah, but assumedly you head out after a bit of that conversation.
Yeah, yeah. After I'm confident that she'll be all right, or at least for now. Head out.
You definitely get the sense that for now she will be able to just have conversation with her brother. As you leave, as you make your way out of the hall that the cells are in, the Sister Superior is waiting for you, Sister Andraste. As you exit, she walks up, and for purposes, she's dressed in more advanced and ornate looking armor than the rest of the sisters around. She has more of like this overarching cape and drape over her shoulders that hides a lot of the armor underneath, and has this sort of like halo-like iron crown that sort of rests behind her head on her power armor. That sort of denotes her status as superior of the convent. And at her waist is a power sword and a plasma pistol, which are yet more indicators.
Yep.
But as she approaches, she says, I understand that the pair of these witches are to be conversing for some time. Should I be detaining either of them here when their conversation is complete?
Is it within my authority to turn her over to her brother as an acting member of the what's it?
Astra Militarum.
Of the Astra Militarum. Or so he's what's the psycho organization?
Scholastia Psychona.
Yeah, the Scholastia, as a member of the Scholastia Psychona.
Theoretically, he's the Primaris Psyker. He does have that level of authority as far as Psychers go.
So then, so in response, I would have let him know that whenever I had the opportunity. So maybe, like, even beforehand, it's like, should all this go well, I want you to take her. Get her someplace where she can learn safely. Because that sort of power belongs in the Emperor's might and not at the hands of chaos. So to her then, upon the conclusion of their conversation, assuming that by that point neither of them have become a demon host, she is to be turned over to the Primaris
Psyker, yeah.
Primaris Psyker of the Scholastica Arcana, who is in there with her.
Very well.
She will follow.
We shall keep an eye on both of them.
She will be his responsibility from here on out.
Of course.
Thank you for your service and the service of your sisters.
May you go in the Emperor's grace, agent of the Inquisition.
My thanks.
Omnizai's blessings. Turn, walk.
I will head out. Do we have a location from all that information to go look at? Or no?
I mean, we still have the headquarters in Mortis Veritas territory that might be in a level of disrepair currently, but could potentially still offer some clues, maybe?
I think that's our next location. But we'll gather right up first. So yeah, 2 steps outside the convent. Vox speed on to everybody. All right, everyone. Let's gather up. I believe we need to plan our next move. She's all right. She's going to be in the care of her brother.
Roughly at this point, Tina and Blair are ripping cushions out of theater chairs.
That's good. Pile of pillows.
It's like those people that have like a bracket of airline seats in their front office waiting room. You know, you're like, what plane did you seal that out of?
Don't ask questions.
After that Vox speed call, Lorwell will just drop down from a building beside Saris.
Hopefully not immediately beside Saris, because they're going to have 2 steps outside the convent.
No, more like 10 feet away.
Okay.
Aristarchus might not actually have seen that coming.
Laurel, I'll say as I continue walking without breaking stride.
Oh, you got my message, Miss Laurel.
Yes, I did.
Did respond to it, so.
Yes, but social niceties are important. TM.
Social niceties, TM, are important, TM.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to try to see if I can gather everyone up at, for Remy's sake, a bar nearest to one of the elevators that is in working condition.
You know, if you need help with an elevator,
You learn that one of the elevators that you would have taken on your path here is not currently in working condition for some reason.
I'm unsurprised.
They break all the time.
It's pretty common.
Yeah, this feels like a very, very 40k.
As soon as he realized, oh, now this thing is completely fucked, Aristarchus did send in a help desk ticket because he's responsible.
Yeah.
There's already a group of like lesser tech priests just sort of trying to get the thing back into functioning order, welding metal plates back onto the roof.
Good fucking luck.
But the group of you try and gather. How do you try and get everyone in one place? I'm curious if Remy like just gives their location to meet up, or if they try and get a bar somewhere nearby.
I'm indicating, if not given any other options, I would indicate a bar nearby to one of the elevators.
Sounds good.
Yep.
So Remy, what have you been up to?
Has it not been clear?
Yes. Anything other than that? And are you going to this meetup?
I mean, not he mostly just waiting for either disaster to come or disaster to be staved off for a minute and a half. Apparently it's the latter. So he gets up with the drink he currently has, walks out, and starts walking across to the other bar.
There we go.
Another drink.
I assume with the glass with the name of the other bar on it.
Oh, almost certainly.
Yeah.
It's a baller move.
Remy's probably done this like a dozen times. He has a collection of glasses from various bars.
They wouldn't just let me fill my thermos, so I had to do this.
As in real life, I had a 5-year stint where every wedding reception that I went to, I stole a glass. It's not unheard of.
Yep.
All right. So, at the moment, at least, she's in no danger. I will say once everybody's got it. And
Sure.
so, we've taken a very powerful psycho out of Tycho's grasp.
He's not gonna like that.
He's not. Now, what was the state of the hideout when you all went down to meet her?
Bereft of life by the time we got there.
Also, there was a big hole plasmid in the door.
Then I'd like to get down there as quickly as possible and see if there's any information that can be recovered as quickly as possible.
There's virtually no chance we might encounter them.
If we encounter Tycho, I'm certain that will be a positive situation. But no, I'm more referring to books, computer, terminals, any information at all.
I'm sorry, in this current situation, with him clearly being the emotionally stable person we all know him to be,
Yes.
but also an incredibly meticulous manipulator and planner who probably had contingencies or may have even anticipated this situation. You think it's a good idea to go back?
Yes, I think it's a good idea to go back as quickly as possible, because as we've seen from raiding his previous hideouts. While he is a meticulous planner, he is also one overconfident and prone to believing himself not to fail. Otherwise, he wouldn't have left as much evidence as he did at his previous hideouts that we've already successfully raided.
Unless he didn't care because that evidence was... Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All right, sure.
It's dangerous, certainly, but I feel like the potential benefits outweigh the potential dangers at the moment.
With 2 icons on an insight roll, is Blair still mad at Aristarchus?
She has been glaring at him and hasn't taken her eyes off of him from the moment she walked in.
I've gotten out from in between that sort of eye line.
There was a period where Tina was between the two of them and then saw the glare and was like, I'm gonna go this way.
Yeah.
Aristarchus just has this very sort of... You can't really see either of his eyeballs, but he's watching Blair fairly overtly as well.
Unless anyone has better ideas as far as our next location for investigation.
Nope.
I mean... One of us thought it'd be a good idea to peek in on Jay, and somehow that worked out in our favor, against all odds. Do we want to try to do that with?
Ankle?
Yeah.
No.
Sounds like a real bad idea.
I mean, so was the first one, but it worked out really well.
No, Tycho is going to meet with somebody who is extremely more powerful than himself.
No, it sounds like you have more information then.
Ronan found a hefty bit out about Tycho.
You can't
He's
share
reporting
with
to
us.
someone named Janus. Now,
That name.
The name sounds familiar to me, but I don't know if it's familiar to any of us.
Can Aristarchus make a scholar roll on the name Janus?
You can make a scholar roll, yeah. Any of you who want to can make a scholar roll.
I'm not going to.
Oh. 6 and a complication.
6 and a complication as well.
Oh, there's some complications.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
2 of us got 6 and a
I'll
complication.
re-roll that. Why not?
I was gonna say I'm gonna wrath on that too. Yeah.
I've only got 1 die that would change, so I'm not going.
Oren, no complications.
Hey.
So, going in ascending order, Tina did not roll, I'm assuming.
No, she
Yeah,
has
no reason
1
to, yeah.
die.
Yeah, that's fair.
No.
I still want to see the roll, though.
Oh, sure. I'll make a roll. Fine.
just complication die.
1.
Just to see how it goes.
Somehow,
Hey!
1.
Hey!
You're familiar
So-
that it starts with a J, not a G.
Yeah. So Blair and Tina are both like,
January.
name doesn't sound familiar, really. Remy
I like-
with.
I like the idea that Tina just busts out with the historical knowledge of Janus was this individual historically, which is why we call it January. And
God of doors and transitions
Right,
and liminal
yes.
spaces
Yeah.
and whatnot. Yeah.
the Remy with 4 successes. Janice sounds like a high-minded name. That is definitely a fancy name. That is not the kind of name that you find
Right.
on somebody from the Underhive. That is the name of somebody who like was born or raised somewhere where they thought he was important.
Yep.
Aristarchus and Ceres, that is not a name that is native to this planet. Like that culturally, that name does not show up in this world and its particular culture. The names the names that you're likely to find here are much more literal. They tend to have a literal meaning in High Gothic that tends to relate to some kind of metal, usually. But the name Janus is not one that you find culturally on this planet, which means it's probably from someone from off-world. And it is also... Both of you with your complications have differing ideas of what it might be relating to. Aristarchus, the whole idea that someone is more powerful than this. Janus is a impressive enough name, and it does have sort of like a vague numerological relation to the month of January. To the idea that like it might be like a Dark Mechanicum agent, like a fallen heretic.
I mean, it comes from the same root language and culture as Mars does.
Yep. So you're like your idea is like, well, maybe it's like a Dark Mechanicum, a heretic, who's like been using warp technologies, and with Ceres, your insight goes directly to the most names like that are covers. There's every possibility that this person is not even who they say they are. That name sounds too important and significant for a normal individual. There's every opportunity here, especially with the amount of control this person has over everything, including this Tycho individual. There's every opportunity that you're not just dealing with a rogue sorcerer, you could be dealing with a fallen or heretical inquisitor, for all you know. It's impossible to really tell, but it definitely sounds like someone who is in control of things.
Do we know anything else about this Janus?
Janus speaks privately to Tycho. When Tycho is joined by all of his lessers, the room's cleared when Janus wishes to speak to Tycho.
Means they want to keep their identity secret.
Also important enough that Janus listens when called.
Thank you for that. Janus is also a member of the Electric Mayhem.
The who?
That's a joke.
I believe.
Yeah.
Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
Oh,
House
right.
band for the Muppet Show.
Right.
Janus,
right.
man.
Like, I don't get all the pop culture references. There are some that are stuck too far back in the brain. Take a little time to come out.
It's okay. Most people take a little time to come out.
Is it a Janus comes when called or Tycho comes when called?
Tycho.
Tycho comes when called.
We have a new boss. Which means that Tycho isn't even the problem. He's a problem, but he's not the problem.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Bosses and someone big to fight, not bosses and
Bosses.
someone with the big hat. Got it.
Janus is
No,
okay.
both.
Why do we have to
Janus.
listen to Janus?
We don't.
No, we don't have to listen to Janus.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
You realize
Yeah.
you don't have to listen to everybody with a big hat, right? Just because they're wearing a big hat doesn't mean that you have to listen to them. I see you
Okay.
processing.
Uh-huh.
This is some orcish like anarchy political theory. God
Right.
damn.
Right. I believe the term is heresy.
No, the big hats is what humans.
Remy
listen
is like
to.
fucking Antifa up in here, man.
Again, I'm just saying, I'm concerned that we're gonna walk down the street and there's just gonna be somebody in one of those like big like foam red like unnatural red cowboy hats walking.
Yeah.
Who's gonna just poke something out randomly, and he's gonna be like, "Well, I guess we have to do it," and walk off.
No, it's a metaphorical hat.
Okay, you get that. Good.
Humies listen to big hats. Orcs listen
Yes.
to the biggest and strongest.
Yes, it's very distinct. That's why I was very confused saying that we had to, because we don't listen to the people with the biggest hats. We're doing all sorts of weird things.
It's like Sarah doesn't even wear a hat right now.
She thinks she does, and that's why Tina finds her annoying.
It's an
Saris has big
invisible
hat energy, is what
Yeah,
we're saying.
exactly.
Big hat energy. There's the
There's a
subtitle
sentence.
of the episode. Big hat energy.
Anything
All
else,
right,
Laura? Anything
so-
else, Laura?
Yeah.
Julia's brain is mush.
He was referred to as a sorcerer.
Yeah. Oh no, that's actually where I was going. I got interrupted. We're not dealing with a garden variety psyker here. We're dealing with a dark sorcerer.
Johnny, are there any chaotic psychers referred to as sorcerers that aren't Astartes?
Oh yeah, all the time. The difference being sorcery is an art.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be a psyker to be a sorcerer. Psychers are better at it, but sorcery is a form of occult magics that relies on ritual and calling upon the powers and essences and beings of the warp. Beings who have almost no psychic potential can be sorcerers with enough knowledge and occult learning. Psychers have better control over it because they are also innately tapped into the warp, but a powerful sorcerer is a danger in its own way.
Well, that changes the game dramatically.
Yep.
Like, psychers might summon demons on accident by tearing holes in the warp or inviting one in. A sorcerer knows the rituals to summon them normally.
Right.
That'd be a thing that I know, because I don't know if Tina knows what this is.
Yeah, I don't think you know what a sorcerer is.
What? I don't get it.
Those who claim the title of sorcerer are those who are steeped.
They've got
in-
pointy hats.
No, well, sometimes. They're those who are so steeped in the warp and in its practices that they have turned their magics into an art form.
Well,
They
that's good for
are-
him.
No, it's not. Well, good for him, not for us.
A rogue psyker can summon demons through a fit of pique. A sorcerer summons demons intentionally.
Through careful ritual and
Yes.
practice.
Mathematically, you might say.
Do we think that's what caused that thing to go after us in that church?
Very
Yes,
possible.
that does strike you
Neither.
as sorcery.
Yes, that would be
Yes.
a sorcerer. That would be a sorceress intent. Yes.
Do you think that he will go back there to summon things? Maybe we'd wait there. I don't.
We'd need to follow Tycho to his master.
Oh. Well, we know he's going to show up at that hiding place where she was.
No, we don't.
We don't know if he'll show back up there at all now.
I still think it's a really bad idea to go there, but
I think it's our
I'm
best
not
chance.
steering the ship.
I think it's our best chance for intelligence gathering. Though now that we know that a sorcerer is at play, you are correct. We may not find anything valuable towards our end goal any longer. If it was just a prison for the girl.
Of note, I may not have mentioned this in the conversation, but Ronan did give you the location of the fortress that he had found. If you decide to share that at all.
Ronan did say one more thing.
Yes.
I happen to know the location.
That's useful. Where is it?
She will spurt off coordinates.
Yeah,
Kind of
deep,
buried the lead there.
Is this
deep,
the
deep
Because
in the underhive.
Because I wanted to get reactions first. Because some people in this group have a tendency to have incendiary tempers.
Look,
You
Miss
say.
Laurel, I know you went there for the elevator, but it was.
As Blair
a-
continues to glare at Aristarchus.
I had an emotion, and I am willing to apologize for it.
She will just look at Aristarchus confused.
Don't worry about it. Anyway, well,
The location provided is deep in the underhive, like
Right.
well
Like-
hidden in the maze of steel.
Like
And this is-
Gene Stealer deep, or
No, more like midway up the hive, but like in the dead center mass of
core.
like
Okay, yeah.
of like all of the steel jungle.
Right,
And
this-
medial axis deep. Right.
Yeah.
this is
clarification?
Tycho's base, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what my question was.
Well, I mean, a carceral location frequently would have some level of information and files on it, but if we want to simply push directly towards the core, that's an option too. I don't know that it necessarily handles Remy's objections significantly by matters of degrees, but
If we know where his base of operations is, that changes potential procedure. That's not someplace we would want to go now.
I would say
oh, you'd want to get Mrs. Tandris involved in this, wouldn't you?
Yes.
that's a horrible idea.
Hi, Frasier. Not
Yes.
Janaea.
Oh.
The yeah.
You're gonna have to specify which Tandris going
Sorry,
forward.
I was about
There's
to
like
clarify.
70 of them now.
I was about to clarify.
Well, you've got Lord
the Death
Tandris, you
the
see.
Death Watch Marine.
And then
Right,
if it
okay.
was Janaea, that'd be Miss Tandris because she's a daughter. But since
Huh.
High Frasier is an
Did I-
older but still female, she'd be Mrs. Tandris, I believe, if
Did I
I'm
get
correct.
Did I get a?
That is an inaccurate reading of how Mrs. works.
Did I get an idea? Did I get an idea of
Be
what
mistaking
High
us.
Frasier's skill set specifically was?
Murder.
I was gonna
Started-
say, murder,
I meant
devastation,
On a more like,
dismemberment.
is she a hunter? Is she a scout? Is she a frontline fighter? Like
Is she a
more like-
demolitionist? Is she
Yeah, like
So
What's her-
It feels like she's a Cuisinart.
So she's a Death Watch Marine, and specifically an Ultramarine, which has a few connotations. She is a trained, she is trained to be a lone operative murderer, essentially. She can work in small teams or do whatever needs to be done to kill her specified target. As an Ultramarine, she probably also has a head for logics, for logistics, tactics, and general administration of operation.
Okay.
So she's
Command protocols.
yeah, she's probably a solid commander and single agent murderer.
So, Voxbead, what would her title like? Would it be
Ultramarine Tandris?
Astartes Tandris or Deathwatch Marine Tandris? Like, what would be that?
You'd probably go by her rank, which, as far as you know, is sergeant.
Sergeant. Okay, so, Voxbead on her frequency. This is Inquisitorial Interrogator Artinos to Sergeant Tandris.
This is Sergeant Afrasia Tandris.
We have received new information, and our objective has slightly changed. Hoping to request your assistance on the next step of our operation, if you are still available.
I am indeed. Where shall I rendezvous?
I'm gonna get the coordinates that were given. Actually, because I would want to bring in the local military on this, because it's essential. Because at the very least, they'll need to know what we're doing. So, what's the
You want to send her to the arbitrators?
Yeah, we're gonna go. Yeah, send her to the arbitrators, and let her know I'll meet her there. And then I'll message them as well to let them know that I'm going to be heading that way shortly, and that there's going to be a Deathwatch Marine there.
Right. So you tell her to head to the Adeptus Arbites watch station up in the Upper Hive.
Yep. And then switch channels, let them know that she's coming and that I'm coming shortly. And then off that, I'm going to go update Hyphasia?
Hyphasia.
I'm going to go update Hyphasia on the situation and get her tactical analysis. Also let the local arbites know so that they do not attempt to respond with guard forces when a ultramarine or any assemblage of our squad inevitably assaults a compound in the center of the hive. Also to potentially get reinforcements if we need them. And that will take some time.
Aristarchus flips his data slate around, and you just see a rough diagram of the Hive City and his 3 most appropriate insertion points to get us probably on a course to these internal coordinates. I recommend one of these 3 insertion locations from a statistical analysis, but use that information as you will.
So Aristarchus and Laurel should come with me to meet with the Arites.
Understood. Voxbead call.
All right.
What would the rest of you like? Would the rest of you like to approach this from any specific angle, or simply take some time to rest?
I'm gonna go. I am going to go canvass my sources and see what the new bits of information we have might yield.
Anybody knows a Janus operating in the city?
I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go down to the Wastelanders and talk to my girls and see if anyone has discovered anything new.
This is going to be a big fight.
A very big one, yes.
I'll let the tribe know.
So Laurel is making a Voxbead call.
Oddly okay with that.
Laurel, who are you contacting?
Ema.
All right. So Ema's line picks up after a moment. Laurel, it's good to hear from you.
It's good to hear from you as well. So, and she is not being quiet about this call at all. After our interaction the other night, I feel I should do you justice. How does murder and a bloodbath sound for the first date?
Oh, now you're just sweet talking me. Who needs to die?
Quite a few people. I have one stop to make, and then I can meet you at your ship and fill you in on the rest of the info.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll get the
You-
last. I'll get the last to spin up the harmony.
Good. We will need all the hands we can get.
You're gonna get to see how the kindred do warfare.
All right.
So
Well,
let's.
Before you all go off, she'll point at Saris. I need to speak with Aristarchus.
Please return him to me intact.
I'll make no promises.
Fair enough. Aristarchus, answer
Fair
for your
enough.
Aristarchus, answer for your crimes. We'll see you outside.
All right.
should I have another
No.
Mechanicus
help.
on speed dial?
Whatever's gonna happen's gonna happen. We just gotta let it go.
She said she knows how to handle stuff, so.
She will just grab Aristarchus by like the collar of whatever he's wearing.
Yeah, he's wearing a robe, so just grab him by
Oh,
the
okay,
collar.
yeah, the collar of the robe, and
Yeah.
drag him off.
Hey,
Come on.
Does anyone have a
All right.
shovel?
I do.
He'll be
So does
fine.
he.
She's angry, but he'll be fine. That boy can get away with things that none of us could.
there is a defense in ignorance. I will tell you that much.
And she will just throw him up against a wall. Not too hard, just threatening.
This might be a very different scene.
You know why I'm mad.
Well, maybe I'm not the best at motivational analysis, but I think it had something to do with the elevators.
I was almost killed twice.
That's very bad news. And I was
Would have been
hoping
your
to-
fault.
I was hoping to avoid that very eventuality, actually, so that's very disappointing.
There are two reasons I didn't hurt you the way I hurt Tina. Number one, we had a mission. Number two, it's you. You get a pass this time.
All right.
Do it again, and I won't hesitate.
I made some very inefficient decision processes, and I would like to offer my heartfelt apologies for that, Miss Blair.
She will reach out to him like she's about to strangle him.
Okay.
And then
He's
she will
used to that.
No, she will pull him in and hug him.
Oh,
It's all right. Mainly, I just wanted to scare you.
well, mission accomplished. I can say pretty honestly. I apologize for my emotional reactions earlier today and for the inconvenience and distress they caused you.
Just think next time.
I know.
You couldn't have known that she pulled me out of the elevator, but you saw the hole when you went in the elevator.
Yeah, at that point, I was really worried something had happened to you, and I sort of had an emotion and went very fast to try and catch up because I was concerned.
All right.
And I promise that getting my emotions extricated is going to be my next dogmatic, so you won't have to worry about those in the future.
Why would you do that?
Well, because emotions are inefficient and inadvisable at the best of times, and as we saw today, it created
No.
an erroneous conclusion that made you upset and possibly almost put you in danger.
Your emotions are what make you you. Don't do that.
Actually, that's my genetics that make me me, which are a fascinating combination of a series of prior generations, but I am possibly picking up by the expression on your face that is not the angle that you wanted this conversation
No.
to. Yeah. Mhm.
He's starting to learn context clues.
Yay, it's learning.
As more of him becomes a machine, he gets smarter and smarter.
It's true. Hmm.
Thank you for picking up on that. Please don't get rid of your emotions.
All right.
Get rid of your honesty system first, and then get rid of...
Well, I'm sorry I made a bad decision that could have hurt you, and that is the last thing that I would want to do in any given situation. So I will try and do better at that in the future.
That's all I ask.
All right.
Be safe with Saris. Don't get them killed. I mean,
No,
things
I shall not.
happen, but try not to.
I will not make any intentional maneuvers that would put anybody in elevated levels of peril.
All right.
All right. And you see the cheekbones rise just slightly as he smiles under his complete blockage face mask.
She'll give him another hug.
Oh,
Right. Let's head back.
pat, pat.
You guys get back. Blair, I'm heading down to check with my people. You're heading down to check with your people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind teaming up and doing one then the other?
Not a problem. Sounds
Cool.
fine.
I may need backup for mine.
And with that,
All right.
as the group of you split in different directions to go have conversations with people, that is where we will end for the week.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.